Okay, this is what it should look like. As I mentioned before, if I press here on the ends, it does not push up in the center. Now all I did was I transferred my marks over to my second panel, put my carbon in. Keynote is, again, this is 5/16 deep, and this is 3/8 here at the center. Just make sure that you do the leading edges first and then do this so that you don't mess up and make this one 3/8 deep. But I'm going to pull this apart here, set it aside, and this is an important step here, is gluing this in. And again, note that there's about a 1/4 inch here and here, as well as when I had that out, or had that in, there's a 1/4 inch space there. What I do is I run a bead. I'm not trying to fill this up here, I'm just running a bead down through there. Make sure I leave about 1/4 inch. Place it in there, make sure I press it down, flip it over, make sure your surface that you're working on is flat. The reasoning is this process right here. This will ensure that that carbon and the foam is perfectly level, and there is no warp in this leading edge panel. This usually takes 30 seconds to a minute before you can handle it. You can place weights on here if you want, whatever. But this is a process I use every time, and this ensures that that panel is perfectly straight. Try to set that back in the wing bed. I'll grab my other one here. Do the same thing. Myself a 1/4 inch. It's in there. Just make sure that stays flat. Now all these steps just ensures that this wing, when you build it, it flies like it's intended to. You know, some people don't, and this is one of the steps that you don't want to rush on. That, put it back in the wing bed. Now, the center spar does not get glued in until the wing panels are glued together. So what I'm going to do, put them right side up, make sure that there's nothing on the wing beds. And you know, it's not a bad idea to clean your desk up after using a router. I mean, it's a quick method, but it's a little messy. So I'm just test fitting these panels together to see what I need to do. I mean, they line up. It's just I want to make sure I can put them together. Hot glue usually dries pretty quick. And all I kind of do is outline the shape and just kind of, you may want to have a scrap piece of foam or something handy. And the reason is when you do this, it'll push glue out. So I'm holding pressure with my arms and holding this tip together here. Push in towards the root. I'm going to give that a few and let it harden. Really doesn't take very long. You can actually handle it right now, which is what I'm going to do. This is the next step, and it's pretty important. So a good idea, if you want to, is to put hot glue on your wing bed. Just make sure you have something down when you put these together. If it gets all over your workspace, it's not going to create a problem for you later. I'm going to go ahead and get that in there. I'm just going to use something to push that hot glue down. Now I'm going to put this center section in. And this is pretty important here on how I do this. Same thing, run a bead of hot glue down the center here. Make sure you have your proper spacing and push down on the tips only. Don't push in the center. Take your wing, flip it over, put it in your wing bed, and then the weight that I put is right here where my hands is at. I do not put weight at the center because it'll push it right back out. So if you put any weight, put it where your hands are at, or where my hands are at, and just give it a, like I've got these here, and these will keep this from moving. Okay, I've got the wing upside down again. I'm going to show you another method I use, and this is basically just to seal this in permanently. You don't have to do this, but it's something I highly recommend, because once it's put in here, it doesn't come back out. So I kind of fill the void a little bit with hot glue, then kind of use a zigzag pattern across here. I'm not really trying to fill this in, I'm only trying to make it permanent by bonding the carbon and the foam together. Now, depending on your hot glue gun, it may take several minutes before you can do this each step of the way, but I'm going to use some Coroplast here. And smooth that out. I'm only going to show this one side because of the amount of time it takes, but you want to make sure you don't do too much glue, because it'll leave a ridge of glue across there. Now, if you have an old sealing iron that you don't use, you can use it to smooth that out across there. And of course, hot glue is going to transfer to it, but it will permanently seal all that in there. But I'll go about where I left off. Get that part in there. And that side's done. And I repeat that process on all sides, across the center. But like I said, the only way to remove this carbon fiber now is to rip the wing apart, just to get to it. Otherwise, it's not coming out.